Okay, we have the A-90 here on some foam because we're going to roll it over and unscrew it from the bottom. There's no screws on the top of it, so we're going to unscrew from the bottom. And I think there's some screws that don't actually need to be removed. I think it's just all the periphery screws, and I've already removed some of them, but we're going to remove the rest. I thought I could do it from just the end pieces, but you can't. We're doing this. I'm doing this on my daughter's art table because it's the largest surface and it can be beat up a little bit. So I've already removed 4 of the end screws on either end here. I thought that's all that was needed, but I just looked it up and you have to remove all of these around here. So I don't know if this one has to be removed, but we'll probably remove that too. I'll try to keep together. I think they're all the same screws anyway. That's my wife upstairs practicing piano on a We Three Kings piece. Since it's November and she's rehearsing for performing at a piano recital. Now what don't need to be removed are these ones here, because there's a front metal panel and this metal panel gets held onto the bottom piece by these screws. So those ones I don't think have to be removed, but there's one here right in the middle that has to be removed, and they all look like this. They get a cap on the end of them and they get a flat cap. So those are the ones that actually removes, that separates the top from the bottom. So what's going to happen is we're going to remove those and then flip it over, keep these screws all along the edge cover cap, the front cap, and we'll keep that there. Now we'll flip it all around, holding the ends of it because that's what comes apart. Well, that's why it was so dim. And I think now I'm still holding this down here. Maybe we do gotta remove those. Okay, well, let's try it again. Oh yeah, here, there's one more I missed. So it's uneven here. There's 2 on the right side that are close together, but there isn't 2 here on the left side. I think I removed one too many. So anyway, so I'll flip it back again. There we go. Oh no, still something. Yep. This one, right in the middle. Down, out. Don't forget one. See that one. Now, there we go. Now, we need to just prop this up so this doesn't totally collapse because there's some wires that are getting stretched out here. So we're gonna, let's see here, let's use my screwdriver because it's pretty heavy. I had a D key, or D sharp, sorry, D flat key, and this D key. Now the hammers between the counterbalance underneath the key should be the same for all white keys and all black keys. I think there's a since I have one that has these counterbalances, I'm just going to move some from the top keys here and use them for the existing keys because I rarely use these. So the way that this guy had it, he had a... Okay, so the keys in question right now, this D flat key and a D key down here, a couple octaves below middle C, are not working. Now it's not to say that those are the actual broken keys. It could be something else, like another key has its counterbalance, the weight for it has actually broken off and come and stuck in the mechanism of one of these other keys, so it looks like that's broken. But so you can hear this one, this D key is making some noise, so my guess is that the counterbalance that broke off of this D flat key is actually sitting inside the mechanism of the D key. Now the trick is to try to pop this key out somehow. Just how I'm able to pop out these keys. Now some people just stick something right in there and try to pop it out, but really these, see here's a key here, these two edges have to be spread apart. They have to be spread apart just a little bit. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use these needle nose pliers that are spring loaded, and I'm going to put this in, and then I'm just going to twist. By twisting, they should spread apart enough, hopefully, there, that it comes out. Right, so they spread out just that way, just enough to spread apart. And coming back in, they really pop in easily. Now I'll just do that with a black key. Now the black keys are a little narrower on these two edges. So put it in, push open, and then they just pops right out. So it's really easy to come out. And just be careful not to pull too much, but it would probably take a lot to actually break them. You just push it in enough so these spread apart, and then the key comes out. Okay, so that's the key part. It's two parts to this. The next part is the actual counterbalance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to also remove the adjacent white keys to this. There. So it's just to spread up. So we spread open the end piece, and I just went like this, and they spread, and then it opens up the two holes, or the kind of the holes that are inside the little, I guess kind of a spigot, and they open up, and then they can just come right out. So there's the white key. Here's the counterbalance in here. The counterbalance just comes right out. Okay. So the broken piece is right here. Here's a broken part off, and I can see it. It's sitting down in there, and I'm gonna just use my pliers to see if I can get at it. There she is. So as the other guy had mentioned on his thing, the counterbalance, I think it's sitting up here. So that's how it was. But you can see the hairline crack that's already around the weights. This is the lead weight part of it. I can feel it's heavy, and it was stuck in there, and then it had broken right off. Right. And that's the actual part. It sits like this. It sits like this under. By the way, that's a student of my wife's up there. So it's actually sitting like this, and the mechanism kind of pushes on this, and then this comes back down to push the key back up. So that's the counterbalance, but it hits against this, and if you hit it hard enough, there's a bar that sits across there, and the bar is sitting like this, and if you hit it hard enough, when it snaps back, or when you hit the key, because it comes whacking up on this bar, and this bar breaks off the counterbalance, so it goes bang like this, and then off she goes. So it's really on the down velocity. If I'm really playing, or you are really playing hard, this part goes up really fast and hard against this crossbar that's on there, and will weaken it and break. So it's again really poor design. So that's a black key counterbalance, and I'll show you what the white key counterbalance looks like. And it's shaped slightly differently because it needs to reach differently. So there's the two different ones, right? So they look quite different. So I'm going to order these from that vendor. See, they're quite different looking. I'm going to try to order them from the vendor. So I've got a broken black one, and I'm going to have to do the white key one as well. So let's set this aside because that's the broken one. This white key one can go back in and just kind of work its way in there, up over that, and it just sits in there kind of nicely. I think that's right there. Yeah, looks like that. So let's pop this one out now, again using the pliers method that I did before. Gently. There we go. Comes out nicely. White key down. Might as well put this, the C, this is the C key. Black key. So, okay, so I don't know if you can see that in there, but down inside there, you can see there's a piece that's, it doesn't look quite right, but that's the broken piece down in there. So what we're going to do, so you take this out, so we're going to take the hammer out. So this is, the counterbalance, that's the plastic mechanism for the counterbalance. See, it comes out really easy. There's nothing to get through because there's the broken end to it. And see how that one's broken slightly differently here. So we're going to take that, and then there's the other piece that's in there, the broken piece. We're going to go down there and grab it. Twist a little bit. It's a little longer. Here it comes. Here it comes. There it is. Okay, so put that away. So that's the broken white key. And what we'll do is we're going to come down here, up to the top, well, I'll come up here to the top octaves, top registers, and we will sacrifice a white key, probably the very top C key, and we also need a black counterbalance, so we'll do the next one, because I've already used one of the black counterbalance, because that broke, and since I don't need that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to sacrifice some of the counterbalances and the keys up here in the upper register, and then transfer the mechanism down there. Really, just the counterbalance piece is what we're going to transfer. Now, I thought I could take out the highest C key, but that seems to be special because there's something to actually keep it in there. I don't want to break anything, so I just tried, and we can take out the B key with no problem. So we're going to use a counterbalance for that, for the white key, broken white key counterbalance, and that comes out easily. Take that, and we'll take its counterbalance out. And just so you know, we're going to use it. Let's just have a look here, and it looks okay. Probably okay because it's hardly ever used, so it's probably okay, fairly intact. So we're going to move this down. And we will put the broken one in its place, just so that there is a place that it'll actually just sit. So we'll replace the key, put it back in, and now it won't be functioning properly anymore. Pop it in. See, now it's the same as the B flat key. And then now we're going to take the counterbalance off of this A flat key for the broken black key that we have lower down. Take out its mechanism gingerly here. Gonna shake it out of place. There it is. It's intact. We'll use that for here. And we'll use the broken one here, and we'll put it into the A flat space here, just so it's got something to hold it together. Hang on. Why does it not want to go in? There. Okay, there we go. Yep, pop into place there. And broken A flat key. Now we're going to come back down and work on these other ones to fix them. Okay, now that we've got all we've got the counterbalances that we need. This is the black one again, black key counterbalance. It seems lighter actually. And then the white key counterbalance. We're now going to put them back into their places. So first let's put back the C key. This is the one that was working okay, and I just pulled it out that was adjacent to the D flat key that was off. So now the counterbalance is in there, so we don't need really to do anything. You can see, oops, let's keep it in there. Now we're going to put this in, and I stuck it in from the top side of the key, and just bring it down onto its pivot point here, snap it in place. Okay. Now we'll take the black key counterbalance, and we'll stick it in this way, put it into the metal, the hole in the metal there, and go weight part in first, and then you can try to feel it where if there's another hole on that side that it has to go into, and I push it in a little further. There we go. Oops, pushed it a little too far. It was resting on the felt, I think, a little bit. And we stick it into place onto its pivot point. There's little kind of small arms that stick out that rest into this little spot on it. Now we put the key part in, snap it into place. There, working key again. And the nice thing about it is once we fixed it, because they were from keys that were way up high, that are hardly used, they're going to be in good shape. Now we'll do the same thing with the counterbalance on the white key. Put it into its hole. That goes this way. Alright, so it sits like this. So this way into its hole over the felt. Let it rest onto its pivot point, and then put the key back in, top side first. Just let it fall into place, and then snap. Fixed. So I'm going to order those. I had to verify that the counterbalances themselves, I figured there was two different ones, one for white key, and I'd kind of seen it before, but one for white keys and then one for black keys. So what I'll do is I'm going to order at least 2 more black key ones, because now I've got 2 broken black keys, and at least 1 more white counterbalance for the broken white key up high. But most of my work is done in these octaves anyway. Okay, now the last thing I'll do is to do a wipe down of, I guess, just the areas around the keys here. The other guy on the internet that did an A-90 repair did some cleaning as well, and I thought that'd be a good idea too. So we actually have Windex in this container, or you probably use any kind of cleaner to do some indirect cleaning. So first we'll start off on the actual keys themselves, because they're a little bit, they could use some cleaning anyway. Knock them down. Now I did some installation of foam acoustic panels, some absorptive panels in the studio, and I used a spray glue for them, and that glue was airborne, and so it was all over the place because I did it, installed it in place. So the little particles of glue went all over the place, including the keys of this keyboard, which was out at the time. I should have covered it. I didn't realize how it was particulate, or sort of like aerosol, how aerosol it was. So I had little speckles of glue all over the place, and I had to kind of clean the keys because they had little layers of aerosol glue on them. So I had cleaned it up mostly, but every once in a while you see a speckle. So it's nice to clean it up. And plus just the regular wear and tear. Sometimes my hands might have grease on it inadvertently. I try to I try to have my hands clean before I ever touch any key, whether it's the pianos upstairs or the keyboards in the studio. And it looks like there's a lot of dirt on these upper keys. And that's understandable because they don't get used much. So give that a good wipe down. I can see in the light how just giving them a good rub actually cleans them up nicely. Could probably use just a little bit more. There's a clean surface here. Now, I'm really making this video for myself. If somebody else makes it, finds it useful, then that's great. But I know I'm going to have to do this again, so I thought I'd make the video, and I don't have to guess at what or try to remember what I did last time, because my memory's just shot. So this doesn't look like it's very dusty in here, but it's not dusty at all. In fact, it's amazingly not dusty. So these Roland keyboards are heavy for a reason. They're really built like tanks. So once again, just to recap, here's the broken counterbalances for the A-90, and now we're going to shut her down. Just carefully bring it in. Just going to rest it itself in place. There we go. Okay, so now that just needs to be screwed in. And actually over here, and we got light. Well, I'll probably do this afterwards. Dust gets in those corners, and in particular, the screen. Well, actually it's just a big cover. It's not a screen. I thought when I first saw these things in pictures, I thought, oh, it's got an LCD screen. No, this is the only part that's the display. The rest of it's just a big cover. This is just a plastic, or I don't think it's even glass, but it's just a cover. My studio gets a little dusty, so control room. Okay, now we're going to flip it around and put the screws back in. This way. This will keep it in place. It seems to be heavier on the right side, so I think there's a power supply there. So we'll flip it from that direction, or we'll hold it down. That's nice. Okay. Now we got all these screws that we'll bring in. I took out this one extra that should not have been removed. It's the one without the flat part on its head. Oops. And the rest, just go for it. Less torsion on the screwdriver so we don't strip. The thing to do so these don't strip is to actually hand thread them initially and then do the power stuff afterwards. Oh, we've got another screw here. It's not that one. I think it's probably. Okay, now that we've hand threaded all the screws, now we're going to just power screw them in. So once again, to recap, these screws do not come out, but there's one in the middle here that's a little further front. That has to come out. And then there's this one here in the middle that has to come out. In the corners here towards the front of the keyboard, there's a couple here on the right side that have to come out. And then only one on the left side. So it's a little, there's the asymmetry there. The rest on the sides, 3 on each side. This one actually is kind of 3, and then there's a 4th one close to the corner, and then all the ones along the back, and then once again the middle one here, middle of the body. Those are the ones that come out, and those are the ones that go back in. So now we'll flip it around and just double check to make sure nothing's loose. Yep. There's the broken key counterbalances, and then the rest of the keys are now back to normal. Now I don't have to do any octave pitch shifting so that I could avoid my broken keys. I can go back to just normal operation. And that is the repair of my A-90, my Roland A-90 controller keys. And now back to work on the music. So this is the workstation area at the front of the control room where the A-90 is going to rest, and I'm going to put it back into its place. All these cables will be resting under the A-90, like the computer keyboard, the keyboards for the Atari, the mice, the hand controller, and all that stuff. So we're going to put it into place. Hopefully I don't hurt my back doing this. Out of the way, slide it in place. This thing is really heavy, so that's why it takes a little bit of work. Okay, now we'll plug in power last. Let's plug in the MIDI cables. I use all 4 MIDI outputs on the A-90. Let's plug in the hold pedal, or the sustain pedal. That runs underneath. I pre-labeled the MIDI cables so that I can just plug them right back in. I put some new labels, some temporary labels. I'll probably never remove them anyway, but we'll just plug them in as is. So here's 3. Actually, let's turn off the... There, we're all back in. Now the last thing that we'll do, since there's no audio in here, that's all we need to plug in. Push it back into place. All the cables are kind of still get a bit of give there. And then we'll plug power in, which I don't have a, I don't have a out of the reach power supply for this. It just goes right inside here, the power bar for this, which goes into, which is actually on surge, actually on a UPS, if I recall. Try to be a little neat on this, if possible. And the rest of the extra just goes in here because this is an unused space. And it's not even grounded. So the power bar for it's right here, nice and easy to get to. That's plugged in. Let's power up and let's make sure that it's going. There she goes. Expandable controller, Roland A-90. Voice expandable. I don't have the voice module in here because I don't need it. Remembered the previous setting. And also I use this little mini LCD screen. That's the new screen for the Atari system. Pop it on. Instead of having that big, a big monitor on here, this is now nice and symmetrical. And it's we're getting some MIDI into the Atari system. Everything looks good and kosher. So that is the repair of my Roland A-90 broken keys. And here's those broken keys up here, and I will replace the counterbalance at some point. But I'm not too concerned, so it's no big rush, because I rarely use those keys. This is not a gigging controller, and it's just in the studio. And that's that. So back to work. Thanks for watching.